My name is Steve Gearhart, and this is the Otaku Observer. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching today's video. This week we are going to talk about a drama manga, and the manga is called The Drops of God. So before I get into The Drops of God, let me just explain about OnCon 3. Yes, OnCon 3 is happening March 19th and 20th. We're going to have, a couple hours on Friday to kind of introduce the OnCon and say hello to everybody. And then we're going to spend all of Saturday doing, watching anime, doing panels, watching Brent make cookies and then auction them off, and actually doing another auction, both of which are for charity. And then we're gonna go into a weekly dig and talk about Spriggan, and then we're gonna end it all with an AMV rave. So you definitely want to come to OnCon 3. I will leave the links down below. You don't necessarily have to show up to sign up for OnCon 3. You can actually just show up. Go as if you're going to the Geek Archaeology live stream, and you're ready to go. But if you want to sign up, that would be really cool, so that way we can kind of keep track of who's coming and going and stuff like that. There'll be an Eventbrite link along down below that you can click on, and you can register for free to OnCon 3. I'm a poet and didn't know it. Okay, on to the review of The Drops of God. So, the way that COVID works, it shut down my theater. I had to find a new job. I eventually found a job in something that I normally do when I'm not in nonprofit theater, which is being a purveyor of booze, beer, wine, and spirits. So now I'm selling it again, and I'm in a particular store right outside of Annapolis. And one of the cool things I get to do is I get subscriptions to magazines like the Wine Spectator, and I'm able to read up on the latest stuff. So one of the things that they talked about in one of the January editions is The Drops of God. And much to my surprise, I'm looking at a magazine about wine, and it's talking about a manga about wine. So that really threw me there for a second, and I was just like, what's The Drops of God? I've never heard of this manga before. Well, I'm still surprised that I missed it somehow, because it's a pretty big deal. It's about 44 volumes, and not all of it is translated to English yet, I don't think. I'm still working my way through it, but I am enjoying it. So I'm going to read off a little bit of information. I have my trusty cell phone with me because, Japanese is not my strong suit. So if I read the names, then I do a little bit better in pronunciation. So anyway, The Drops of God is, like I said, a manga series. It was in production, weekly production, from 2004 to 2014. There's 44 volumes of it. Like I said, it's in Japanese. It's fully translated in French, and as far as I know, it's partially translated in English, with the idea that the whole thing is going to be translated in English. So I haven't reached the end of the English translations yet, but I'm pretty close, so I'm hoping that by the time I get there, there'll be more. So I'll keep my fingers crossed, because it's actually really good. So the pseudonym of the author is Tadashi Agi. It's a pseudonym because it's actually a brother and sister who write the story for The Drops of God. And their names are Shin and Yuko Kibayashi. All right, so they write the story, and they have a fellow artist by the name of Shu Okimoto, drawing the manga for them. And it is a very accessible manga. It's a drama. There's no isekai, there's no mystical, there's no magical girls, there's no demons or adventure or anything like that. This is a drama manga, almost slice of life. And when I say it centers around wine, it is all about wine. That's the whole deal of it. The plot goes like this, okay? So you have a young man who is estranged from his father. We don't know at the beginning, at first, what that estrangement is, but it's enough to make him not talk to his father for a number of years. And not only does he not talk to his father, but he pretty much ignores the family business. And the family business is about wine. The father is a renowned authority on wine. He has this, apparently, this amazing collection, amazing wine library. And it's a collection of rare wines, good wines, popular wines. So it's worth millions, right? So the father dies, because that's what fathers do in drama mangas. They die. And so the son gets word of this. Now, what's interesting about the son is that he is so disinterested in what his father was doing with wine, but he still works with an alcohol. He is a beer seller. He sells a brand of beer to restaurants, and that's what his job is. But as he was growing up, he still retained the knowledge of what he knew about wine that he learned from his father before they became estranged. Well, so the father dies, and he's called to the family estate, which is this palatial European-style mansion in Japan. And he sits there for the reading of the will, and there's another guy about his age sitting there with him. And it turns out that the father adopted this other guy as his son as well. So in the will, the father brings the two sons, the one adopted one and the other one, his firstborn, and says, okay, look, the will says, okay, look, there's this vast fortune in the wine that we have, and that's part of the estate. So we have a contest for you to see who gets the wine library worth millions, right? And when I say millions, I don't mean millions of yen, I mean millions of US dollars. So it's a big deal. So the rules of this contest are pretty easy but hard to do. So what it is that in the will, the father has 13 different wines that he lists, and he doesn't tell you what those wines are. What he says is, these are the notes, these are the memories, these are the things I think of when I've drunk this wine. You two go out and try to find the wine that best matches this description and this experience I had with this particular wine, and maybe you'll actually get the same exact wine. So what these two guys have to do is they have to go out in the world with these clues and try to find these wines, try to find a wine that best matches these clues. And not only best match in terms of taste, but they have to be able to explain it. They have to be able to talk about it, the history behind it, the notes, the flavors, the whole 9 yards. So it's not just like, here, drink this, and see if you win. They actually have to do a full presentation of the wine that they choose, that they think that their father would have chosen. Now, the judge is a man who was the father's best friend and apparently has wine skills that are fairly close to, if it does not even rival, their father's abilities. So he is the judge, and he determines which son, the adopted or the firstborn, actually wins that round. Now, like I said, there's 13. Yeah. So anyway, there are 13 bottles of wine that they have to go out and find, and 12 of them are called the apostles. So each bottle is an apostle, and whoever wins that round. And they keep going until they get to the 13th bottle, which is the drops of God. Don't know why I like saying it that way, but I just do. Anyway, so that's the last one that they have to figure out. And so that's the story. So that's the drama, and it goes over 44 volumes. There is an ending to it. I don't know what that is. I mean, it's a drama thing. I think we can all guess who wins, but still, there's a lot of interesting things that go along with it. So that's the plot, and here's why I'm going to tell you should probably read it. It's very accessible to people who are not familiar with wine. Okay, so you don't have to know anything about wine, which is the really cool thing about this manga. As a matter of fact, what this manga does, and the point of what the brother and sister who wrote this manga wanted to do, was to teach people about things about wines. So in each story, there's 2 or 3 things that you learn that are of practical use, like how to use a decanter, how proper corking techniques. How do you taste wine? Why do you spit? Is smelling a wine really that important? By the way, yes, it is. So, so the manga talks to you about how to, because these become relevant in the story, so they take the time to explain why this is important and why you need to know what this is and have a confident knowledge about it. And it's done in a very entertaining way, and you don't feel like you're being talked down to. It's not like some wine snob going, "Oh, you don't know anything about red wines." So no, you don't have to worry about any of that. It's the purpose. One of the purposes of the manga is to teach noobs, hey, this is a fun thing. You might want to get into it. You might enjoy it. Now, the other part, really cool part of this manga series is that all the wines that they're talking about are real. That's right. So every single apostle that they have to find and they present their choices, not only is the apostle that the father came up with a real wine, you eventually figure out what the wine is, but the choices that the two sons come up with are also real wines, real vintages. This is real stuff, okay? These are real things. Like when they listed the first time that I went through the first round, and I realized what I was reading, and I was like, no, that's a real wine. And then I kind of read the notes, and it was like, oh no, the brother and sister are big wine geeks, and this is what they want to share. So it's really freaking cool. So to me anyway. So should you read this manga? Yes. Here's the problem with this manga, and it's its greatest strength. Its greatest weakness is its greatest strength, which is this is a very niche manga, meaning that it is really, when I say it's about wine, it's about wine. You don't need to know anything about wine because you're taught stuff as you read it. But the problem is that that's all it's about. So it's very niche. So if you're into magical girls or isekai or action and things like that, you're not going to get that. This is a drama. Drama does ensue, kind of helps the narrative along, but it is about wine. So if you have no interest in wine whatsoever, you're probably not going to want to read this. Or if you have some kind of interest in wine and you decide to take a stab at it, and after a while you're kind of like, I don't know. It's kind of understandable. So, but I encourage you to give it a try. See if you like it. See if you're into it. That's why I talk to people about when they come to my store and they say, I'm not a big wine person. And I talk to them and I try not to talk down to them and say, give it a try. Give this manga a try. Who knows? You might like it. Okay, so that's it for this week, and I hope to see you guys at Geek Archaeology on Saturdays at 8 o'clock. That's where we talk about a specific anime that we watched during the week, and also the anime news of the week. And it's me, John, and Brent, and we kind of, talk about stuff, and we have the chat function up, so if you stop on by and you watch it, you want to throw in your 2 cents, please do. We always enjoy it when people participate, and hope to see you there. And also don't forget, March 19th and 20th, on Con 3, so show up there. I've got a panel going on, so you need to stop by just to watch my panel. That's all you need to do. No, actually come by for the whole thing, because it's going to be a lot of fun. And so I think that's going to be about it for this week. And just remember, wear your face mask, social distance. COVID-19 is still a thing, despite the fact what some states might say in their mask mandate. And essentially, I just want you guys to be safe, because I would very much like to meet you face to face someday in the future, and I think that would be really cool. Like and subscribe. If I get enough subscribers, we get it to 200. You guys get digital sushi, and who does not want digital sushi? All right, guys, love you. See you next time.